I am not Catholic, but after working at Newman University, I've come to think of myself as Catholic adjacent. I've learned that when practiced with integrity, Catholic education isn't just about doctrine, it's a framework rooted in service, dignity, and social justice. It fosters inclusion, encourages critical consciousness, and empowers people from all backgrounds to grow, serve, and belong. At Newman, I haven't just learned about Catholic values, I've experienced them in action. Although this tradition is grounded in faith, its reach is far broader. Catholic education at its best has the power to transform anyone who is open to it. 2 years ago, I was offered an incredible opportunity at Newman University, but I hesitated. As someone who's often felt on the margins, I wasn't sure I belong at a Catholic university. That all changed when I read Newman's Code. As a member of the Newman community, I pledge to live in the spirit of critical consciousness by respecting the dignity of every person, honoring both personal and institutional integrity, and striving to embrace all humanity. It wasn't just a slogan, it was a promise, posted across campus, in student and faculty handbooks, and on every webpage. The code made inclusion and accountability a visible part of daily life and reflected the kind of community I wanted to be a part of. A community that doesn't just tolerate differences, but embraces them. It gave me the courage to say yes. The code also resonated me with through the cultural lens of Hostin's framework. It strikes a rare balance between cultural individualism and collectivism, honoring personal dignity with a shared responsibility to one another. It's not just about standing alone, but standing together. Even the phrase striving to embrace all humanity points to a future focused mindset. Although Hofstede's dimensions at Newman, inclusion isn't just a trend, it is a long-term commitment to social and global responsibility. We are not just trained for a job, we are shaped to build a more compassionate world. After I was hired, I attended mandatory employee orientation led by Sister Teresa Wetta, a member of the Adorers of the Blood of Christ and director of Mission Effectiveness. There, I learned how Newman was founded by an order of Catholic nuns who believed in empowering others through education, specifically local women from disadvantaged backgrounds. That legacy still echoes through the halls of our university, a commitment to lifting people up, especially those historically left out. That commitment has only deepened under the leadership of Kathleen Jagger. When she stepped into her role in July 2020, she made it clear that her Catholic faith called her to champion inclusion. As she said in Newman's magazine, if we truly believe in our Catholic calling to look for the face of God in every human being, we must take a serious look at diversity and inclusion on our campus. Her words helped me to understand that inclusion isn't separate from Catholic identity, it is at the heart of it. Dr. Jagger goes further, defining diversity as celebrating the value of difference and reminding us that we do not include others out of charity. We include because our differences enrich us all. Under her guidance, diversity and inclusion became top priorities of Newman's strategic plan, not just university policy, but university culture. Newman's campus is where students are empowered not only to succeed academically, but to feel seen, valued, and called to be transformative. I came to Newman with quiet caution. As someone whose political and ethical views often differ from the dominant culture in Kansas, I wondered, would I be accepted? Would I have to hide parts of myself to fit in? But from the start, I was welcomed, genuinely seen, and invited in. Any fear I had of merely being tolerated quickly faded. I came across a reflection that captures it perfectly. Being a welcoming community means that we do not seek that we do seek those that we do not know, and we make sure that no one leaves without knowing that the individuals have added an important element to our celebration, and we are so grateful for their presence. That is exactly how Newman made me feel. That my presence mattered, and that I added value just by being myself. In the spirit of inclusion isn't just written in Newman's code. It is something I've experienced regularly in my day-to-day work. Across departments, my colleagues have met me with kindness, generosity, and support. When I needed help, it came without hesitation. Their actions reflected Newman's mission in practice as a daily commitment to dignity and belonging. I saw the same spirits in events like the Cultural Extravaganza, Newman's largest student-led celebration of global diversity. Through food, music, dance, and storytelling, students shared their culture with pride and joy. It is a great example of how Newman lives its values, not through words alone, but through community. Working at Newman has showed me that real inclusion feels not performative, but personal, not conditional, but lasting. I've become more curious, more open, and more committed to helping others feel the same sense of belonging I've been lucky to experience. Despite Catholic higher education's deeply rooted commitment to inclusion, as a reflection of Catholic social teaching, many institutions are now being forced to re-examine their diversity efforts in the face of growing political pressure. According to a 2025 article from the National Catholic Reporter, Catholic colleges and universities across the US are facing uncertainty as the Trump administration intensifies efforts to dismantle diversity, inclusion, and equity (DEI) initiatives in higher education. A new directive from the US Department of Education warns colleges to stop considering race in any aspect of campus life, including scholarships, housing, and student events, or risk losing federal funding. The impact has already been felt. At the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota, this shift led to the loss of $6.8 million of federal grants meant to support teachers in training in underserved schools. As a result, 185 students, many preparing for careers in elementary and special education, were displaced almost overnight. Yoharu Williams, founding director of the university's Racial Justice Initiative, described the situation bluntly. We are being forced to choose between serving our students and complying with confusing federal guidance. Catholic institutions that have long grounded their DEI work in principles of dignity, justice, and care for the marginalized now find themselves walking a tightrope. The article notes that university leaders are scrambling to navigate a rapidly shifting legal and political landscape. In order to avoid drawing federal scrutiny and continue their work, many are rebranding their language to emphasize concepts like belonging and human dignity. Paula Moore, DEI officer of Villanova University, summed it up well. We are not trying to create woke citizens. We are trying to create thoughtful, well-formed citizens with a moral compass. And yet many Catholic colleges, including Loyola Marymount University, remain steadfast in their mission. Even as they cancel events and revise programming, they continue to affirm the values at the heart of Catholic education: justice, inclusion, and service. As the National Catholic Reporter makes clear, it's not just a policy debate, it is a moral moment. It challenges Catholic institutions to decide whether they will continue to create truly inclusive communities, even when doing so comes at a cost. Before I was hired at Newman, I didn't expect Catholic education to be diverse or inclusive. That assumption, I now realize, came from my own bias, shaped by historical mistakes the church has made and a few negative personal experiences. I also let fear of rejection hold me back from a place that has not only welcomed me, but transformed my life. I found at Newman a community rooted in dignity, service, and inclusion, not just in words, but in action. I've come to see that critical consciousness isn't only about recognizing injustice in the world around us, it is about confronting that assumption within ourselves. Newman didn't just change how I see Catholic education, it changed how I see myself and what's possible when we lead with courage, humility, and an open heart. I'm grateful for what I found and learned at Newman, and even more grateful that I get to keep growing here as a student. Thank you.